Hello and welcome back to this course. In our previous video, we have discussed about the generic methods, and now in this video, we will discuss about the generic classes. So first of all, I am going to create a class here, again with the name the example, just for this video. So I type here class example, and in this class, I am going to create the reference of the integer. So I type here integer I, and after that, I am going to create a method here with the name public void, and I type here set I like this, and in the parameter I type here integer I1, and this method I type here I equals to I1 like this, and after that I create another method public void and get I, and I type here return I. Okay, so we change the data type here. I type here integer. Okay, so I have created the class with the name example and a reference of the integer class, and then I have created basically method set I and get I, simple methods. And now I go to my main method. Now in the main method I am going to create the object of the example class. So I type here example e equals to new example, and after that I create integer class object integer I2 equals to new integer, and I type here 10 just for an example, and then I call the method of the class. And now I am going to call the method of the example class. So I type here e dot, and I call the set I and type here I2. Okay, so this is the just simple example, and now I can also print the value on the screen. So I type here system dot out dot println, and I type here e dot get I like this, and now if I run this program, you will see 10 on the screen as we expect this output from the compiler. Okay, so now I have to make this class generic. How can I make this class generic? Now for example, I create another object of the string class here. I type a string and s equals to new string, and in this constructor I type here and just like send Java. Okay, so can I do this thing e dot set s? No, I cannot do this. I have to make this method generic. Okay, so I made this method generic, but what for this thing here like get I have to also make this generic, and I have also make this variable generic. I have to make all the things generic in this class. So what I do, I make the whole class generic. After the class example, I again type here angular brackets, and in the angular bracket I again type here anything you want like this e, and also I have to change all the data types, or you can say wrapper classes with the e. I change here e, and also I change here e, and also return type from here e, and then I go to my main method. And now I am going to do one more thing in my main method. When I create the object of the example class like this example e is equal to new example, I type here angular brackets and type here integer, and also before the constructor I type here integer like this. This means that when we create the object of the example class, all the placeholder like this e will be integer, this e will be integer, this e will be integer, and this e is also integer. And when I want to pass a string here, I create another object of the example class. I type here example, and this time I type here string, and e1 equals to new example, and I type here string again, and now I just type here e2 dot set e1 dot set I and pass the s, and now I'll just print the value system dot out dot println, and I type here e1 dot get I like this. Okay, so now if I run this program, you will see Java and 10 on the screen. You can see we had the same class, but this class is now our generic class. I repeat all the things once again here. First of all, we have simply created the object of the example class, and in the example class, we have the reference of the integer class like integer I, and then I have created the method public void set I, and in parameter I type integer I1, and then I set the value of I1 in the I, then I type the get I and return the I with this method. And then I simply call the set method in my main function and pass the integer value, like I have created the object of the integer class integer I2 equals to new integer 10. Then I pass the I2 in the then I simply print the value of the I using the e dot get I. And now next time when I have to pass the string value, then I have to make this method generic. When I want to get the value, I also have to make this method generic. And these methods are using the variable I. So I have to also make this thing generic, and in this way we have to make all the things in this class generic. So what I do, I make the whole class generic. I type here the placeholder, you can see here in angular brackets I type anything, you can type anything here like E or A or any placeholder you want. I type here E, then I have changed all the data types or the wrapper classes with the E, and also in the return type I change the E, and also whenever I want to create the object of the example class, which is a generic class right now. So what I do, I just type the example, then in angular brackets I type integer, E equals to new example, then again in angular brackets I type integer. So what this means? This means when we create the object of this class, then all the placeholders like this E are the integer. And when we create another object of the example class like example, then this time I type the string in the angular brackets. E1 equals to new example and again string. And this time this class E is replaced by the string. All the E in this class are replaced by the string. So in this way we have made our class generic. So I hope you understand that how we create our methods and classes generic, and why we need to make our methods and classes generic, because by using generics we can make our code more simpler and more efficient code basically, and you can say that this is the best programming approach we are using right now. So I hope you understand that how generic methods and generic classes works. Anyhow, if you feel any problem while understanding the generics, you can definitely ask a question or message me. I will definitely help you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in next video.